Glad you could join us for our 7:30 news bulletin. My name is Tandiwe Nzumara. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV appeals for international aid for Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, Ebola victims, and Central African Republic mining victims. Finance Minister says Malawi can boost revenue without tax hikes through wider tax base, more administration, and efficiency. National Children's Commission calls for proper reintegration of street-connected children. And in other news, Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and M23 rebels agree peace roadmap as Doha talks seek to regain momentum. We have the details to these stories and more, to stay with us. Pope Leo XIV has called for international solidarity with people affected by the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and victims of a deadly mining landslide in the Central African Republic, CAR. Speaking during his Angelus address at the Vatican on Sunday, the Pope expressed concern for those affected by the two tragedies, urging continued support for the victims and their communities. We have more details in this EWTN news report read by Patrick Popper.
The recent Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo was first declared in May 2026, claiming the lives of close to 2,500 people, according to an August 21 BBC report. The country is currently distributing a vaccine against the virus, and public health officials have declared it as the deadliest outbreak in the country's history. Pope Leo has encouraged on the part of the international community a response that also involves local communities in efforts of preventing so that many human lives may be saved. The Pope also expressed closeness to the people of the Central African Republic who are mourning the victims of the collapse at a mine in Zambia. The Pope prayed that the Lord may receive those who have lost their lives and sustain efforts to ensure safety and respect for the law at mining sites. During his Angelus, Pope Leo also preached on the Gospel of the day, in which Jesus asked his disciples about his identity, and Peter confesses his faith in Jesus as the Son of God, noting that the question of the Jesus identity is decisive for one's everyday experience of discipleship. The Pope has urged Christians to deepen their personal relationships with Jesus Christ through prayer and reflection on the gospel. He said daily life can help believers discern whether they view Jesus Mary as a historical figure or as the Son of God sent to bring humanity into the Father's love and transform lives and society. Concluding, the Pope also encouraged the faithful not to rely solely on their own convictions about Christ, but to remain open to developing an authentic relationship with Him.
Lilongwe Archdiocese Auxiliary Bishop, His Lordship Vincent Makwawa, has urged children in the Archdiocese to remain in school and avoid rushing into marriage. Bishop Makwawa made the appeal during the closing ceremony of the Holy Mass of the Children Congress held at Gilime Parish in the Archdiocese of Lilongwe. Emmanuel Shiwocha has filed this report.
In his homily, Bishop Vincent Makwawa condemned the practice by some parents and traditional readers of forcing children to leave school and enter into early marriages. He said the Church will continue using platforms such as the Children Congress to educate children about their rights and empower them to report cases of abuse.
The expectation is that these children should grow in their faith, especially prayer life, because the prayer life, relationship with Jesus Christ, is the one that can help them be transformed and understand their human obligations and be able to fight against evil that always enter into their hearts as children, as human beings. We know that today in our societies there are a lot of evils that are happening, especially targeting these children. We know challenges of early marriages, we know challenges of school dropouts, we know child abuse, we know the neglect that is there by the parents. Therefore, we have to empower the children first themselves, that they should know that God loves them.
Chairperson of the Children Congress, Tina Gandodo, said the Congress was successful as it addressed various aspects of children's lives, including their spiritual, physical, and social well-being.
Delegates from all our parishes, all our deaneries in the archdiocese, we had delegates over 1,000, which is a plus to us. And on top of that, we had so many talks on healthy, on spiritual, and everything which concerns children, especially about early marriages and dropouts. So from the teachings, from the talks, we could see that the children had attention. They were very attentive, listening, answering questions. So to us, it's a successful Congress because whatever we planned, we have achieved.
In her remarks, Traditional Authority Zulu of Umchinji commended the Catholic Church for organizing the Congress and addressing the problem of child marriage, pledging to work with the Church and other stakeholders to combat harmful practices affecting children.
I
sincerely thank His Grace Archbishop Tambala for organizing this important Children Congress. As traditional leaders, we will work closely with the Church to end the harmful practices of early and child marriage. Together, we will protect our children, keep them in school, and secure a bright future for them.
One of the participants, Clemencia Magileni, from St. Joseph Parish in Kasungu, said the Congress helped her understand the dangers associated with early marriages and dropping out of school.
In this Children Congress, I have learned about it. Do not start small marriages, and do not stop school. Do not stop school on the way.
The Children Congress brought together more than 1,000 children from different parishes across the Archdiocese of Lilongwe. The children participated in spiritual and physical activities, with school dropouts and early child marriages among the key issues discussed. For Luntha News in Mchinji, this is Emmanuel Chuocha.
Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Decentralization Joseph Mwanamveka said Malawi can increase domestic revenue without necessarily raising taxes, calling for the widening of the tax base, modernization of tax administration, and elimination of inefficiencies. Speaking in Luntha on Monday during the launch of the Malawi Revenue Authority's Corporate Strategic Plan 2026 to 2031, Mwanamveka said the strategy should help sustain the authority's revenue collection gains while supporting the country's economic development agenda. Charity Chilanga has more details in this report.
Mwanamveka described the new 5-year strategy as a social and economic contract with Malawians, guiding how government raises resources for schools, health facilities, roads, and other public services. He said MRA has become the engine room of the nation's development, noting that the authority recently collected more than 1.40 trillion kwacha in tax revenue in a single quarter.
The government aspires to progressively strengthen Malawi's domestic revenue capacity, including raising our tax to GDP ratio. This is a ratio of revenue to GDP ratio towards the 20% threshold.
In his remarks, MRA Board Chairperson Magufasi Kawawa said the authority collected about 4.4 trillion kwacha against a target of 4.3 trillion kwacha during the 2025-2026 financial year and recorded an average revenue performance of about 99% under its previous strategic plan, adding that the new strategy will build on these gains through digital transformation, risk-based compliance, improved taxpayer services, stronger governance, and greater public trust.
In the final year of the strategy, that's the 2025 to 2026 fiscal year, the authority collected 4.4 trillion kwacha against a target of 4.32 trillion, representing just over 100% of the budget. That's 102% achievement, and a year-on-year growth of 44%.
UN Resident Representative Fenera Frost said taxation remains critical to economic growth and development, urging Malawians to embrace the strategy and support MRA in achieving its strategic objectives.
The plan is, as has already been mentioned, specific about how it plans to close the service gap, including through bringing service points closer to taxpayers, including rural and underserved areas, simplifying registration in filing and payment, a national taxpayer education agenda, and enforceable services and standards backed by the automated taxpayer charter that measures openly satisfaction indicators.
The launch of the MRA Corporate Strategic Plan 2026-2031 was held under the theme Leveraging Digital Transformation for Sustainable Revenue Growth and Efficient Service Delivery.
The National Children's Commission has called for a proper and sustainable program to reintegrate children living and working on the streets into safe family and community environments. The Commission's Vice President, Benedicto Gondowe, has told Luntha television that simply removing children from the streets without addressing the challenges that push them into street life could result in them returning to the streets and facing further abuse and neglect. We have more details on this report filed by Judith Ogan.
Gondowe says reintegration must be child-centered and guided by the best interests of each child. He says children should be individually assessed and supported with education and psychosocial services, while follow-up should continue after the return to their families.
Remain safely integrated, protected, learning and thriving thereafter. That is what will make any process of reintegration meaningful. And I think the more we depart from merely satisfying the removal of children from the streets to really making them thrive, providing the protection that is needed, the safety.
Meanwhile, child rights and protection advocate Sirieto White says authorities must listen to children, understand their individual circumstances, and support their families to address challenges for successful reintegration.
More child-centered approach. For me, the starting point is to remember that these children the first starting point is to remember that these are children first. Okay, we need to understand their individual stories instead of treating all children in the street as the same. I would recommend having social workers and other child protection practitioners engage with the children, but build trust, but also listen to them.
Executive Director for Youth and Children's Affairs, Desmond Mohango, says Malawi needs a government-funded national reintegration program that supports families through initiatives such as CDF and social protection, while helping children return to school or access vocational skills training.
Now, to sustain this program, the children must immediately be put into schools. If they are old enough for them or too old to get back into standard or rather primary or secondary school, then they can be, sent to vocational skills training centers. Some are formal, others are not formal. So the qualifications will allow them to get a little capital for them to establish, skills-based businesses.
The advocate says success should not be measured by how many children are removed from the streets, but by how many are safely reintegrated, protected, and able to strive in their families and communities. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Ogan.
Member of Parliament for Rivilizi constituency in Malaga, Chifundo Magande, has reaffirmed his commitment to promoting development in his constituency through the 5 billion Malawi Kwacha Constituency Development Fund, CDF. In an interview with Luntha Television, Magande, a member of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party DPP, said the introduction of the 5 billion CDF by government would help accelerate tangible development projects in constituencies across the country. We have more details in this report filed by Andrew Nandolo.
Makande said the establishment of constituency development committees would help ensure that the funds are properly managed and used for their intended purpose. He said as the funds are specifically meant for development, he will work closely with the committee and communities to ensure that the money benefits people in River's constituency. Makande further said following consultations with the communities in his constituency, he has identified about 75 development projects that he hopes to accomplish within the 5-year term.
As a constituency, we are going to rely more on the CDC committee. It is not only a member of parliament who is going to have influence on monitoring and also implementation of the project. In my absence as a member of parliament, that may be for 2 months I'll be in Lilongwe, it means it will be this committee that is going to be responsible to monitor the progress of those projects and also report back to the CDC.
Among the projects are the construction of Balaka and Diamo Utale Road, Magombera Health Center, and Dziwe Secondary School. Reporting from Balaka, this is Andrew Nandolo.
Remember that you're watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, and today with me, Tandi Wemzumara. Before we proceed, another look at the headlines. Pope Leo XIV appeals for international aid for Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, Ebola victims, and Central African Republic mining victims. Finance Minister says Malawi can boost revenue without tax hikes through wider tax base, more administration, and efficiency. National Children's Commission calls for proper reintegration of street-connected children. And in other news, Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and M23 rebels agree peace roadmap as Doha talks seek to regain momentum. Proceeding with the news, Chewas from Malawi, Zambia, and Mozambique have been urged to attend this year's Kulamba traditional ceremony in large numbers to celebrate and pay homage to their king, Kalonga Gawaundi. Speaking during a press briefing in Lilongwe on Monday, Senior Chief Dr. Lukwa said this year's Kulamba ceremony will be held on the 29th of August at Mkaika in Zambia. We have more details in this report filed by Phallus Chizombe.
In his remarks, Lukwa called on Chewas and people from other tribes to join the Chewa community in Zambia and celebrate with their king.
I am urging all Chewas from Malawi, Zambia, and Mozambique to attend this year's Kulamba tradition ceremony in large numbers. The ceremony will take place on August 29 at Mkaika in Zambia. This is an important occasion for Chewas to come together and celebrate their rich cultural heritage. I am also calling on people from other tribes to join the Chewa community in celebrating the important event. This ceremony provides an opportunity for us to unite and strengthen the bonds among Chewas across borders.
Meanwhile, Chair for National Chairperson Dr. Stanley Chakumbira Kaila says this year's Kulamba ceremony will feature various cultural dances and activities, urging Chewas to attend in large numbers and experience the traditional event firsthand.
It is actually much better and a better experience if people were to be there from, I wouldn't say starting from today, but definitely from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have dancers from Mozambique, Malawi, and Zambia on these 3 days.
The Kulamba traditional ceremony is held annually at Nkaika in Zambia and brings together Chewas from Malawi, Zambia, and Mozambique. This year's ceremony is being held under the theme Unity Beyond the Borders. Reporting for Luntha News, this is Phallus Chizombe.
The Maseko Ngoni Umhlangano is set to promote unity by bringing together people from different ethnic groups to celebrate culture, strengthen social bonds, and discuss community challenges. Ngwenyama Inkosi Yamakosi Gomani 5 made the remarks during the first fundraising activity, a dinner and dance, held on Friday in Lilongwe. The second fundraising activity, a golf fundraising tournament, was held on Saturday in the district as well. Gift Kalonga has more details in this report.
Ngwenyama Inkosi Yamakosi Gomani 5 says this year's Maseko Ngoni Mshangano will provide an opportunity to promote unity among different ethnic groups in Malawi. He says the event, which is going to be held under the theme Ubunye Ngamatla, will bring together people from different communities to celebrate culture, strengthen relationships, and promote national unity. Gomani 5 says the celebrations will also serve as a platform to discuss issues affecting communities, including gender-based violence, girls dropping out of school, child marriages, and land grabbing. He says the Maseko Ngoni leadership wants to use culture as a tool for development and positive change, while encouraging communities to understand, embrace, and preserve their cultural identity.
Is to unite, bring together people, teach them about our culture as Ngonis, but also to showcase how culture can be used as a tool for development and positive change. Culture is our identity, culture is who we are. And we want people to understand and embrace and enjoy their culture. So people cannot know and embrace their culture or understand it if you do not reach out to them and teach them. So that is our responsibility, that is our job.
Secretary for the Maseko Ngoni Heritage Trust, Impi Kandi Kadambo, says preparations for this year's Mshangano are progressing well, with most arrangements already finalized. Kadambo says the event has received strong support through fundraising activities, including dinner and dance and golf tournament, with funds expected to support the hosting of the week-long celebrations.
Are proceeding on very, very well. In fact, I can tell you that as we are speaking now, most of the preparations have been finalized. And we have approached a lot of companies. My thanks on behalf of His Majesty to Nico, our platinum sponsor, who have sponsored, who are one of the sponsors of this organization. Nico and other companies are also going to assist us in hosting the major event, where we are expecting a lot of visitors from within Malawi and outside Malawi.
Chairperson of the Mshangano Organizing Committee, Raf Teka, says the fundraising activities have been successful, with support exceeding the committee's initial expectations.
In short, I could say this event has been very successful. Successful in the sense that we really managed to raise a lot of funds, or more than what we actually expected initially.
The 2026 Maseko Ngoni Mshangano is planned to run from 31 August to 5 September 2026, with 5 September being the main celebration day. Mshangano is a major Maseko Ngoni cultural gathering and annual celebration that brings together the Maseko Ngoni community and other people to celebrate their cultural heritage, traditions, and identity. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Gift Kalonga.
Now in other news, the Democratic Republic of Congo DRC and the Rwanda-backed M23 have agreed on a roadmap for peace negotiations following talks held in Switzerland from the 17th to the 21st of August, setting out the next steps and timetable under the Doha framework. The deal comes after months of stalled diplomacy and renewed fighting in the east. We have more details in this Africa News report read by Patrick Pupa.
According to a joint statement issued by the Swiss government, the roadmap is intended to define the successive stages and timetable for negotiations under the Doha framework. Both sides reaffirmed their commitment to pursuing negotiations aimed at securing a comprehensive peace agreement and resolving the conflict through implementation of the Doha framework. The parties also agreed on a standardized method for reporting alleged violations of the ceasefire, a step seen as important to rebuilding confidence between the two sides. A phased ceasefire verification mission under the MCVE mechanisms was scheduled to take place Monday in Minembwe in South Kivu province. The participants also agreed to establish a mechanism to assess progress, identify challenges, and implementing the commitments made under the Doha framework. The United States welcomed what it described as a progress in the Doha peace process. Masad Baulosi, a senior advisor to U.S. President Donald Trump for Arab and Middle Eastern Affairs and senior advisor for Africa at the State Department, said he was encouraged by the results of the streets meetings, reaffirmed Washington's support for peace and stability in Eastern Congo and wider Great Lakes region. The latest developments have been welcomed cautiously by analysts. Political analyst Christian Moleka said the ceasefire monitoring measures represented some progress, but warned that the process will remain at an early stage. He noted that the ceasefire commitments form only part of the first protocol under the Doha framework, while 6 other protocols have yet to be signed. According to Moleka, the pace of negotiations illustrates how far the parties still have to go before reaching a comprehensive settlement. He urged that both sides continue to protect their interests while facing pressure from mediators, with the possibility of renewed military action still present. The Doha framework and wider international mediation are aimed at ending a conflict that has displaced large numbers of people and destabilized the Great Lakes region.
And that also brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of our news bulletin. But before you go, a reminder of the headlines. Pope Leo XIV appeals for international aid for Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, Ebola victims, and Central African Republic mining victims. Finance Minister says Malawi can boost revenue without tax hikes through wider tax base, more administration, and efficiency. National Children's Commission calls for proper reintegration of street-connected children. And in other news, Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and M23 rebels agree peace roadmap as Doha talks seek to regain momentum. Thank you for keeping me company. My name is Tandi Wemzamara. Continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. And do stand by for the weather report.